It's Delia. That's me.
I was gonna show everyone Bailey because Kelly's been bugging me to, but she wouldn't go sit on the couch. So here she is. Who's a good girl? Hello and welcome, Dealy Boppers. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different. So some of you may recall that I recently did a video talking about what it's like dealing with haters as a transgender vlogger, because we do get a lot of hate messages and mean comments. In that video, I talked a bit about why haters don't really get to me, and how their bigoted bullshit can actually sometimes be kind of useful for pointing out all the transphobia that we still have around in our society. Now, unfortunately, there was a time when my standard practice with those kind of comments was to just delete them and block the person who was leaving them until eventually I just kind of got fed up with it and was like, whatever, it's not worth my time. So there's actually a lot of gems that I don't have around anymore. The good news is that if my haters are anything, they are a relentless bunch of little motherfuckers. So now, without any further ado, for the very first time anywhere ever, allow me to present to you the very first official Delia Melody mean comments read. Today's first comment comes from VLHH Wood 1626, who says, "You are not any kind of woman. You are a freakazoid male with a severe identity crisis. Seek therapy. Please stop forgetting that you have a penis and an Adam's apple. Duh." Well there, VLHH Wood 1626, as much as I hate to burst your bubble, I have to let you know that I actually am a woman, and I do have a therapist who can confirm for you that I don't have a severe identity crisis and that there's nothing wrong with me being transgender. I do appreciate you being thoughtful enough to remind me that I do have a penis and an Adam's apple, though. I mean, I honestly actually forget that sometimes. I mean, look at this thing. How would I even notice it without you pointing out that it's there? And I mean, it's not like I ever shower or go to the bathroom or have sex or anything, so it's pretty easy to forget about my penis, too. I don't know what I'd do without you. Thanks, VLHH Wood 1626. This one comes from Insane Salamander, who writes, "Delia Melody, something about Delia. You are so full of shit. You're not Native American, you are Greek, a European. Latina is not a race, it refers to anyone from a Latin country, meaning a country where the language is derived from Latin. Spanish people are Latina, but they are white, so are Italian people, French people, etc. You are a living lie, a gay man living a life of delusion that thinks adherence to societal ideas of femininity is the only criteria of womanhood." You know, I'm really glad I have complete and total strangers around to tell me my ethnicity. Alright, now, I mean, my dad was whitewashing to a certain extent. He did deny that he was of Mexican-American heritage for like a really long time until I was able to actually prove it with his grandparents' immigration papers. He also made fucking white people tacos, although the salsa was really good. But at the same time, somehow, he was also really proud every now and then of his Apache heritage. And then, of course, we have his dad, who is basically pretty much straight-up full-blooded Mexican-American Chiricahua Apache, so I don't think I'm Greek. Catherine Luck is Greek, and she was in the same video that I was in, but I mean, like, I'm pretty sure we're fairly easy to tell apart. I mean, the noses are kind of similar, but this one's not Greek. It's from my mom's side of the family. It's Belgian. Now, you are right that Latinx is not a race. It is actually an ethnicity, but it doesn't refer to anyone who comes from, like, any nation that speaks a Latin-rooted language. Those would be Romance people. It refers to people of Latin American heritage. However, those people are also usually of a rather specific racial profile. Usually a mixture of white and Native American with like a significantly higher amount of Native American than your average white person who's like, oh hey, I have a Cherokee like great-great-grandmother. And yes, obviously I'm like 3/4 white, but I'm also a full quarter Apache, which means that I'm not even white passing. If I ever had kids with a white person, they might be, but I am not. I've never been white passing a moment in my life, and I've dealt with anti-Latinx racism the entire time. I've dealt with the green card beaners, Speedy Gonzalez, and Elian Gonzalez bullshit since I was in fucking school, and after that I faced the housing discrimination and the employment discrimination and had to deal with white people's shitty fucking version of what they think Mexican food is supposed to be, so trust me, I'm not Greek. I'm also not a gay man. I actually like women. And shockingly enough, as a card-carrying feminist, I don't feel like adherence to societal ideas of femininity is a criteria of womanhood at all, much less the only criteria. I actually feel like the way society enforces its ideals of femininity on women and then, like, forbids men from engaging in things which they consider to be feminine is, like, incredibly misogynist and shit and needs to stop. I'm not a woman because of how I act or dress. It's much more fucking complicated than that. It's gender. You can get a PhD in the study of it, for crying out loud. It's an elaborate social construct which means different things to different people, and the criteria of being a woman is identifying as a woman. Nice try, though. This one comes from Corrosion X4, who says, being a conservative is not an insult. Being a psycho freak who pretends to be a woman is. I mean, technically you're right. Telling someone they're conservative is not an insult, but you can use that as part of an insult. Now, that second one is a really good example of an insult. It's insensitive, it's edgy. It would probably work a lot better for you if I was a psycho freak who was pretending to be a woman, but I am in fact an actual woman, so sorry, but it's not working for me. This one comes from the cynical who says, sorry, there's only 2 genders. Saying otherwise shows that you're delusional. This may come as a shock, but actually saying there's more than 2 genders shows that you know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know much about your qualifications, and I don't really care, but do you know who has 2 thumbs and a close friend who's getting a master's degree in gender studies? This bitch. So I'm pretty keen on taking your word over yours. Next up, we have another very intelligent and informed comment from the cynical which says, XX or XY, trans people need to retake biology. Actually, if you learned in your biology class that the only 2 human chromosome combinations are XX and XY, your biology class was a load of shit. There's also XO monosomy, triple X syndrome, XXY, and even XXXY and XYXXY mosaicism, or Klinefelter syndrome, which I actually show some symptoms and signs of. And even XYY, or super male syndrome. That's a lot of sexes! And you know what? None of them have a goddamn thing to do with gender. So what if I have a fucking Y chromosome? That has nothing to do with my goddamn gender. There's also people with double X chromosomes that come out with penises, and people with XY chromosomes that come out with vaginas, and people that come out with any combination of chromosomes with genitals that aren't strictly penile or vaginal. It's actually impossible to know what someone's chromosome combination is without doing chromosomal testing, but the good news is that I don't need an extra X chromosome for my gender to be valid. The bad news is that it sounds like if anyone needs to retake biology, it's your biology teacher, not trans people. This gem comes from Morgan Reuter, who says, God damn, you're fucking retarded. Fucking language much? Well, god damn it, Morgan Reuter, you're a fucking ableist piece of shit. I'm sorry, did that come out of my mouth? I'm sorry, please pardon my big girl words. This one comes from Affiliate Pro, who says, okay, bye racist. I still don't get how caring about people who aren't white is racism, but okay. Don't know why you're saying bye before you even say hello, but I mean, you're kind of rude anyway. Oh my god, this is one from an interview that I was doing with another trans musician about being a trans person who makes music. It comes from Mr. Caleb G98, who says, I feel like me being straight really influences my music. My music is really genre binary. It's only country or rock. Dear fucking Christ, can't you let a trans person have a joking observation? I mean, y'all talk about us not having a sense of humor, but frankly, that whole genre fluid joke is fucking adorable. And like, I mean, I'm gonna try to ignore the whole point where like being straight is not in fact the opposite of being trans, and there are many, many straight trans people, but I'm pretty sure that people's straightness actually does influence their music quite a bit. Seeing as how just about every other goddamn song in the world is about some straight person's relationship or breakup or what the fuck ever, surprisingly, musicians actually do write music influenced by their own lives and experiences and identity. Being trans is not the end-all and be-all to who I am, but it's a pretty big part of my identity. You really think that it wouldn't have an impact on my music? This is what's called being able to see yourself as the default, when the fact of the matter is that trans experience are just as valid as yours, thank you. This one also comes from Mr. Caleb G98, who says, way to generalize us, cunt. Respect my sexuality, Zir scum. Nice potty mouth. I don't use Zir pronouns. Where are people getting this idea? I use she, her. This next lovely ode to my awesomeness comes from this jerk's a guy who says, you suck. No joke. Not being mean. You put zero effort into what you're doing. It's a facade, and it's obvious. No one likes your music or covers because you are lazy and clearly have no desire to improve. You are personally satisfied with being less than mediocre, and you expect the rest of us to accept your mediocrity and praise you for simply being there. Gross. Oh my god, that's actually like one of the sweetest fucking things anyone's ever said about me. This one comes from cute little Susie, who says, lol, 2 butt ugly dudes sitting on a twin bed talking rubbish? That's 30 seconds of my life I can't get back. Okay, now this one really cracks me up because it actually comes from this video, and the girl sitting next to me, my good friend Haley, is cis. Like, I mean, obviously neither of us are dudes, and inferring that you should not call her a dude, but that it would be okay to call me a dude would be transphobic. But, like, seriously, you're talking about a woman who was born with a vagina, so even by your standards, that doesn't make fucking sense. This comment comes from Popper Pooper. That's an interesting name. Oh wait, do you mean like Popper Pooper? Like pop her pooper? Like telling people to do it up their girlfriend's butt or something? That's classy. Anyway, Popper Pooper wanted to let me know that apparently my shitty regressive SJW attitude gave them terminal cancer. You use buzzwords every 2 seconds and you bitched about the cartoon portraying trans people as whiny, but it turns out you were whiny as fuck. I am whiny as fuck, and if you want to hear me whine about why I'm not actually whiny as fuck, feel free to check out this video because, like, there's a lot to go into with this one. In conclusion, they felt that my video was awful and they wanted to drink bleach after watching it. What is it with anti-SJWs and drinking bleach? Like, I'm pretty sure that's not good for you. I mean, it's your body, do whatever the fuck you want, but like, I just don't think that's a good idea. Hashtag drinking bleach is not self-care. This next comment comes from II360, who says, this whole video makes no sense. You are the reason transphobia is growing. You need some help, not for being transgender, but for being a whack job. I have to say, it's really sweet that so many of my haters care so much about my mental health, but I actually already have a therapist. It's actually kind of ableist as fuck to call people with mental illnesses whack jobs, but I do actually suffer from borderline personality disorder, which, by the way, like you were so keen on pointing out, has nothing to do with my transness. But for the most part, I've kind of got a handle on that. It still means the world that you care, though. I'm touched, so thank you, II360. It's nice to know that there are people out there who care. This one comes from Mo Found Jesus, his Lord and Savior, who writes to say that perhaps the reason people feel the need to have a heterosexual Pride Day is because they're sick and tired of being persecuted because they're straight and having all this LGBT, ABCD, or whatever other letters folks feel like adding today jammed down their throat. Okay, this is actually a huge problem, guys. Heterophobia is important. It's no joke. This is a huge problem. Straight people are so fucking persecuted. Did you know, for example, that it's actually legal to get married if you're a straight person in like pretty much every nation on Earth? Those poor straight people. And it doesn't end there. What about all of the religious conversion therapy camps that turn straight kids gay? I should know. I run one. This one comes from Voteless Orc 497, who says, what the hell are you? You know, I ask myself that sometimes. I had to ask myself that a lot to come to terms with my own gender identity, and you know, I'm really still not sure I even know. Like, I know I'm a pansexual transgender woman, but I mean, come on, I don't have time for all your fucking existentialism. Sorry, not sorry. What the hell are you? This one comes from Joe Kehoe, who was responding to a comment on how much I've changed during my transition and just wanted to say that I'm apparently much more of a filthy freak now. Hell yeah, I am. Too bad you'll never have the pleasure of finding that out in person. Here's another one from Insane Salamander, who wrote again to say, this is why universities are full of retards. Wow, nice ableism there. There is no gender spectrum. Gender is a binary. In fact, the term gendered species means any species of animal with binary sexes. Gender identities is just gender roles repackaged by SJW retards. There's that word again. Like you, and men like you are the worst kind of sexist. I still don't know what gender roles have to even do with this when I'm a feminist who believes that gender roles are fucking bullshit and that people should live their lives the way they want regardless of their gender, but like, maybe you should go to one of those universities that actually study gender. A man can totally adhere to stereotypically feminine clothing and gender roles and still be entirely valid as a man, and a woman can do whatever the fuck she wants and still be a woman. Like, I don't think you're getting what gender actually is. It's not sex and it's not gender roles, it's gender. This really isn't a difficult concept. This one comes from Jax T, who asks, am I the only one who thinks the Delia melody looks like Rick Owen? Who the fuck is Rick Owen? Oh, that's Rick Owen. I don't see the resemblance, do you? Where does this shit even come from? I like that they picked a guy with like a huge jawline and no cheek fat whatsoever, cause like, clearly, the resemblance is there. I'm not flattered, but like, I'm kinda hot shit. If you want to bring me down, you're gonna have to do a little bit better than that. This one, also from Jax T, says, you are a hideous You look like a young Marilyn Manson. Good luck finding straight men to date you, dude. LOL. Why does it seem like so many people go to the word dude immediately when they want to offend a transgender woman? Like, me and my girlfriends call each other dude all the time. It's not really a gendered term anymore. And, like, I'm not exactly looking for straight men or anything right now. Like, I'll take one if one happens to come along, but I'm pretty happy with my girlfriend. I'm actually more attracted to non-binary people than I am to men or women, so, like, I don't understand why everyone thinks that, like, I'm trying to find dudes, but I'm not. I don't know where this whole assumption is coming from that being a woman has anything to do with liking men ever, but just for your information, there are plenty of like lesbians and pansexual and bisexual and otherwise sapphic women out there, so like, yeah, I'm one of them. I mean, I get that you probably wish I was looking for you, and I mean, honestly, who could blame you, but I'm actually really picky about men, and to be quite honest, you're really just not my type. What can I say? I like my men witty. And if you feel like that whole hideous tranny that looks like Marilyn Manson bit is original, that's obviously not you. This one comes from Zhao Mao, a gender-critical individual who wrote to say, "Sorry about your penis, dude." Thanks, dude. Next up, Liam Cahill, who writes, "You're a dude." That's it. That's literally all he wrote. And once again, what is with the whole dude thing? Why does it seem like every person who says that thinks they're the first one to say it? This comment comes from Ed Fowler, who says, "I didn't watch this rant all the way to the finish, but I have a problem with you not dressing up, wear makeup, eyebrows, etc. And for God's sake, get a nose job. Your objective is to pass as female. What gives you the right to rant about what other people see you, trans, as when you are not successful at your task? This society has men and it has women. Grow up and be the female you're supposed to be." What the fuck is wrong with my nose? You want to talk shit about my nose, I'll fight you. Seriously. Fight me, Edward. My objective as a trans woman is not to pass as a cis woman. Like, that's actually not on my agenda at all. And I actually do have the right to rant about people being trans-misogynist shitheads, given that I'm a transgender woman living in the United States where we have a little thing called the First Amendment that protects my freedom of speech. You don't have to like it and you're entitled to say whatever you want to, but I actually do have the right to rant about this bullshit. And for your information, I'm every bit the female I'm supposed to be, so why don't you grow up and stop telling other people how to live their goddamn lives? This one's from Undertale Septicai, who writes, "The whole trans thing to me is just inhumane and disgusting." You do know that your username sake, the real Jacksepticeye, is actually like not down with transphobia, right? In his own words, why would he be? He loves all people. I'd say I'm sorry to have to break it to you, but I'm really not, so yeah, your hate's not trendy. And here's Undertale Septicai again replying to Limes and Lemons to say, "Well, only if you find butchering Tor genitals okay." What are Tor genitals? Do Tors have gender? What kind of Tors are we talking about? Like tourist Tors or musicians? Wait, are those the genders? Here's Xiao Mao again, letting me know that I'm apparently a male with a psychosexual disorder. Well there, Freud, that sounds like a load of turfy bullshit to me. Probably referring to the autogynephilia theory, which has been debunked pretty thoroughly by now, so yeah. This comment comes from Inky Feelings, who writes to say, "Why is this man wearing makeup and furthermore pretending to be a woman? How silly of an adult to play make-believe." I'm not actually pretending to be a woman, I am in fact the real deal, but like seriously, why aren't more men wearing makeup? Like, it's hot shit. And I don't care if you think it's childish. I'll play all the goddamn make-believe I want, thank you very much. This comment comes from Pokemon Brubaster, who writes to say, "This is cancer, and the fact that you are an SJW doesn't help in any way. Actually, it makes it more cancerous." You say SJW like it's a bad thing. And our final comment today comes from one Nazari M618, who writes to say, "Kill yourself, thanks. F***s and trans need to be hung from a tree, shot, and then burned." Okay, I feel like this is one of those comments from like one of those people who would be like, "It's just my opinion," but this is literal hate speech. At the same time though, it doesn't really scare me. I mean, let's put this in perspective. There are like people I used to know locally who have personal shit against me who would literally kill me the second I gave them the excuse to, so this really just isn't doing it for me. Please don't let it get to you though, it's not your fault. Sometimes a girl just needs more. And that wraps it up for today. Stay tuned for more mean comment reads in the future, and until next time, be yourself. Oh my god, there are so many. This is gonna take a while. Here's another one from Insane Salamander who wrote... Here's another one who wrote from saying...